I don't know what I can say about David Cage's work that hasn't already been said. You think by the latest Quantic Dream release of Detroit, Become Human, they'd take the widely agreed upon criticisms of their past work, the problematic writing tropes, massive plot holes, and superfluous QuickTime events, and improve upon their movie game formula. However, they just doubled down on everything good and bad. And before I get too critical, I do want to point out why this game is my favorite PS4 title in this class. The sheer scope of the branching narrative and the required performance capture is a massive undertaking and amazing accomplishment. However, the clumsy writing and parallels to the Holocaust, slavery, and segregation is what most would call a big oof. The draw of David Cage games isn't the dead children, half-naked girls in panties about to be abused, or the massive stakes and interconnected narratives. It's the grounded small moments of holding conflicting bits of information and making choices that make you reflect and learn something about yourself. If the game just focused on the buddy cop narrative between Hank and Connor, didn't try to save the world, but rather just better understand it, that would have resulted in a much stronger narrative. And after all, narrative design is the art of making people give a shit. And since the game mechanics feel that they're out of obligation instead of necessity, it's so important that the writing be solid. Less is more, and if the resources spent on the other two-thirds of the stories were directed into replacing the QuickTime events with more open-ended crime scene detective puzzling and fleshed-out dilemmas that required critical thought as opposed to straightforward black-and-white moral decisions, it would have benefited the game tremendously. There's also this meta-level menu character metrics collection aspect that, despite also being very heavy-handed and laughable even, had some really interesting insights. I think games as social experiments is an interesting concept and premise that deserves more exploration. And to be fair, Quantic Dream isn't alone in many of these issues. Modern game design has streamlined and abstracted all interactions to button prompts and repetitive gestures, and I'm all for meaningless interactivity to flesh out the world building, but it only works well in immersive sims when that interactivity can be paired with interesting and unpredictable systematic combinations, to accomplish goals in your own personal way, so you can feel a sense of ownership. This is the biggest problem with the game, and it was because it was so clear-cut and hand-holding that I was playing for results and not experiencing the thought-provoking emotional roller coaster it aspired to be. I want to give a big thanks to Sony and Phil Rosenberg, who, without this class, would not be possible. Not only have I gotten a better games literacy, but also have a backlog of games now that will last me throughout quarantine, so thank you.